How's it going, everyone? Hi, everyone. How are you doing? Today, we're going to look at a powerful and extremely important tool in supply chain called Google iStudio. You've probably heard of it. It's very well known in the market these days. We're going to keep this pretty brief because, I use this tool for two or three extremely important things. But first, let's do a brief introduction. Google Live Studio, first of all, is not just a chat. It's an environment where artificial intelligence can see what I'm doing. That's the main difference it has compared to other artificial intelligences. Why is that? Because when I share my screen, the artificial intelligence acts as a real time assistant. This is something highly valued in supply chain because many decisions are made while we're working, right? Is that clear? This tool, Google iStudio, is a creative platform that is part of Gemini. In other words, Google iStudio is within Gemini. That's why I'm not going to focus too much on this tool because we'll look at it later in Gemini. I just wanted to be clear what I use Google iStudio for. What this tool does here, for example, is it doesn't replace Zap, it doesn't replace Excel. It sits next to me while I work. That's the main strength of Google iStudio. It's an assistant that's right beside you, right next to you. If you have a question, instead of asking a coworker or your boss, you ask Google iStudio, you share your screen, ask it, and it helps you. So what happens then? When you share your screen, they can see your Excel, understand the tables, follow the navigation you're doing on the web, and guide you step by step with anything you can't move forward on. Don't know where you need to click? You ask Google Ad Studio and say, what do I need to do to move forward with this issue? And it guides you. It's incredible. It's like having a junior analyst watching my screen. Not even a junior analyst. I think it's more like a senior or higher level target. All right, now I'm going to show you some simple exercises. Okay, what do I use it for? Google iStudio. Let's keep it really brief because there could be videos that are 2, 4, or 6 hours long. It's simpler than it seems. I use it for two fundamental things, which are Will I apps, which is building ideas. All right, you click here and write an idea, and it will generate exactly that, an idea. Good. Now I'm going to give you some examples. Here you can see, look, these are the models that Gemini has. All right, these are generally the important ones. The latest ones are usually used Gemini Flash and Pro. Okay, but I'm showing you the models that are available. Let's go back. Next, the chat models. The most important thing here about the chat is that if we come here to this tab, we can see the features we have. We have Gemini Nano Banana for creating images and more, but I want to get straight to the point. What do I use it for in live? The live feature works like this. If I click right here, a new interaction window opens up. And in this space, we can talk directly with Gemini about absolutely any topic we want. Wacom, we show the camera and talk to the camera or share the screen. This is the most important thing. Sharing your screen and getting advice on a specific topic. It's a co-pilot and assistant. That's its biggest advantage over other artificial intelligences. All right, so building ideas and talking with Gemini in these three options it gives you. And a separate note, which is also very important. And now I'm going to show you which are, let's go to lib. Yes, we were in lib. Excuse me, I hadn't seen it. Are the instructions in this specific process. They give it a formal title. They provide it with a very high quality promo. And they are carefully pre-programming it into Gemini and Google AI Live Studio in order to advise it precisely with that exact set of instructions. Default. So it better understands what you are aiming for, what you need. Okay? Now let's look at a couple of very simple examples. Now the first step we have to take before sharing the screen or talking to Google Live Studio is to give it instructions, as I mentioned earlier. Let's go. System instructions. Here we're going to give it a title and a prompt. Here I have a Word document, actually in English and in Spanish. All right, this is actually very simple so that you can clearly see how it works. You are an assistant, a supply chain manager. Context. I am sharing my screen while working with SAP, Excel, and purchase and inventory data. Your role, guide me step by step on what to review, help me structure the analysis, and suggest what to analyze next. Ask clarifying questions if necessary, check rules, do not make final decisions, do not execute actions, do not negotiate with suppliers, do not assume information that is not visible on the screen. Style, clear and concise, professional business language, focus on purchasing and inventory risk, act as an experienced supply chain colleague on your dashboard. Objective, to accompany my thought process while I analyze real supply chain data, both in English and in Spanish. What do I do? Very simple. I copy both languages. I'll go ahead and paste the content, and then let's carefully position the title right here in English as well as in Spanish. So as you can clearly see from this demonstration, it can be successfully completed in whichever specific language you might want to use. So now that we have the prompt completely ready to go, okay, this is essentially the very first step of the process. Now, let's try to share the screen together, but I have noticed that here it doesn't actually allow me to hear the audio output from the artificial intelligence and at the same time record the video properly. This is mainly since I'm currently using another application and I need to have the sound be heard clearly by everyone watching. Therefore, I'm going to record it from my cell phone. All right, so to give you a better idea of how this works, what I'm going to do now is start a conversation with the Gemini model. First, I'll navigate over to the lib section on the sidebar. Then I'm going to click on the Gemini dot icon. And from there, I will select the very first model that appears at the top of the list. Yes, that's fine. 2.5 flash, and we can talk, webcam, and share screen. Okay, let's share the screen and I'll start recording from my cell phone. Okay. Hello, Gemini, how are you?
Hello, I'm fine. And you? How can I help you today?
I need to share my screen and have you explain something about my SAP system. Is that okay?
Of course I can. When you're ready, share your screen and tell me what you need.
Do you see my SAP screen? I'm showing you the purchase order ending in 902. Do you see it?
Yes, I see your screen. You're on purchase order 4500020902. Tell me, what do you need to know about it?
Look, it's a service purchase order, and I need to certify this line I'm showing you here, line 30, the SAP system. And I don't remember how I have to do it. Can you tell me how I need to certify this service? Which transaction should I use?
To certify a service in SAP, you usually use transaction ML81N. Does that transaction work for you, or do you need us to check another one?
Let's give it a try. I think it will. So, ML81N, you're telling me that's the transaction? Give me a second.
That's the one, go ahead.
There it is. And now what do I have to do?
You've entered the entry sheet display screen. To create a new one, click on the Other Purchase Order button or the icon next to it. Do you see it?
Yes, there it is. That's where I enter the purchase order I need to certify, right?
Exactly. Enter the purchase order there. After that, you'll be able to create the entry sheet for line 30.
Okay, so here I put line 30, right?
Careful, in that field you only enter the purchase order. To create the entry sheet after entering the order, you need to press the Create button or something similar, which is usually on the toolbar.
Okay, I pressed enter there, and I imagine you're talking about this sheet that I have to create, right?
Correct, you're on the screen to create the service entry sheet. Now,
There it is. Now I understand perfectly. I clicked there. Now I can follow the steps. Very kind. Thank you. As you can see, folks, this tool is extremely useful and easy to use. Share your screen and you have to speak to it very slowly. Give it space, explain clearly what you need, and it will guide you correctly. I use this tool very often. When I have questions or something, I share my screen and it usually explains things to me, tells me which transaction, what I need to do, or I can show it a report and ask, what do you think about this? What risks could we have in this report? Or what improvements could be made? And it gives you. I'd like to offer a fresh perspective and a detailed comment regarding that important project report you are currently working on right now. It always helps. It's an assistant that gives you a well formulated opinion. All right, everyone. Now let's move on to idea construction, which is build in English. Okay, let's go to build. And right here in this space, you can write down the specific idea that you need. To create here, I'll show you a simple example, gallery. Here is exactly what I created so you can see the process I followed. I developed a comprehensive content generator for my LinkedIn, TikTok, and YouTube channels, which is based precisely on the curriculum of my supply chain academy. You just have to wait a few short seconds for it to work, and I promise you, it's really not rocket science, folks. All I did was send the system a very detailed and well structured prompt, and it generated all of this high quality material for me, which I think is absolutely excellent for my needs. Look at what it made for me. A content generator for my supply chain, my website, the 12 modules that I explained. Here you can attach a PDF, video, whatever you need, an instruction. For which platform? The tone. All right. Generate ideas, for example. I'll show you so you can see it. As an example, it generates 4 posts for me. You have to wait a little while. But just so you can see what this tool does, it's really good for generating ideas. You have to wait a few seconds and it's going to give me 4 posts to give me ideas specifically to promote my supply chain, my academy. Here we have the 4 posts. Master the integration of SAP and Excel for the supply chain. All right, so right over here is the image post generator, which has created these 4 different posts. Just wait a second, there it is. For example, take a look at these 4 social media posts and the custom buttons I created, a PDF document, a carousel slider, a PowerPoint presentation, and a screenshot. For example, this PowerPoint right here. And I click. And just like that, that is absolutely everything. I now already have a complete social media post that was fully generated by advanced artificial intelligence. What I'm getting at is this is an idea for my academy. Just imagine what you could do with this for your own work. Whatever you need, you can do whatever you tell it to do. You just have to write it in. Let's go. Right down here. This is the front part, the chat. Here you write to it. You write to it and it will a well-crafted prompt, obviously, properly structured, and it will create it for you using code because all of this is code. All of this is code. It will create a report, a dashboard, a chart, whatever you need. Now we can do a very simple example and we're going to try it out. What we're going to do now, folks, as I was saying, we're going to put an idea here. We're going to combine, for example, this very simple PDF, an Excel file that I saved as a PDF. What do we have in the company? Supplier, materials, type of material, unit price, quantities, total value, and country. What are we going to do? We're going to combine them. First, we carefully attach the specific file. There it is, successfully attached now. And right here, we have a very simple and direct prompt provided in both English and Spanish, which basically says the following. Please act as a highly skilled expert in the field of supply chain analytics. Using the data from the connected and attached Excel file, your task is to build a clear, simple, and professional looking dashboard that is specifically aimed at providing effective training for users. Objective: show an overview of the company's purchasing and supply chain activity. Okay? They are in Spanish and in English. So let's put it in. We just copy the prompt in English. There's no need for it in Spanish. For me, it's easier to read in Spanish than in English. Excuse me. But well, I am gradually and slowly learning the language on my own. I copy. I simply copy the prompt, I hit the wheel button, and now this is where the real magic happens. You just have to wait for a few seconds or maybe even a minute or two. It really depends on the server. That is exactly why I made this specific file very, very short, so it doesn't take long at all to process. But if you are working with a very large file, then obviously you will have to wait quite a bit longer for it to finish. There, it is finally loaded now, folks. It took about a full minute to complete, and that is the reason why I paused the recording for a moment. Let's share the screen, full screen. Here we already have the actual dashboard with the prompt we created. Look, it created the dashboard in a minute. All right, total spend, 74,550. Let's see if that's true. We have it. Hold on, there it is, 74,550. That means just to check, right? Just in case. Total quantity, 17,970. Let's go to our Excel file. Quantity, 17,970. Number of suppliers, 6. Let's see if that's true. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the dashboard is correct. And here we already have it with the filters: suppliers, material type, countries, by date. And we have the corresponding chart based on the prompt we sent it. The total amount of money spent by each supplier, the total spent on various materials, and the total spent across different countries, specifically including Canada and China, Germany, Japan, Mexico, United States. Spent, the trend of spending per day, daily. And the details of the transactions themselves, which come directly from the Excel file. It's basically copying the Excel file. Okay? And obviously everything is interactive. For example, let's take a look. Here we see the blue one is the United States, which takes the largest share. So for example, let's select United States. See, here it represents $24,450 across these three suppliers. We have the types of materials used: raw material, packaging, logistics, documentation. Honestly, it's absolutely excellent. This tool is fantastic. So what we're going to do, what I want you to see. So this is the specific prompt, the exact prompt that I just copied. Look, I have copied the prompt, and once I successfully copy the prompt, that is exactly when it starts thinking. Tilda starts thinking right away. Within Google Studio, Tilda is carefully analyzing what it is looking at, and then it finally generates the actual dashboard. See, right here are the specific codes it executes to make it happen. And right over here is the initial preview for you to look at. And if you really want to, you can expand the window to make it much larger. And then you will be able to view every single detail perfectly and clearly. So, to wrap everything up for today, folks, what exactly did we do here? We used Google Live Studio to share our screen to help us as an assistant, a co-pilot. It can provide us with comprehensive step-by-step guidance if we happen to get stuck, or offer us detailed and constructive feedback, sharing its unique perspective and point of view on absolutely anything we're showing it. To help build out these ideas, I carefully constructed that relatively simple dashboard from that excellent Excel file. Just imagine what you could create. It is really just about having all of your ideas very clear, creating a perfectly well structured prompt, and then it will definitely do exactly what you need. Dashboards, reports, analysis, anything you need. All right. And the instructions. Remember that it's those three things. It's the instructions, obviously, instructions, a well established, well structured prompt so that the instruction is already preset, allowing it to think correctly when you share your screen or send it something. You attach some information and it creates a report or a dashboard for you. That's why instructions are so important. Because if you don't send the instructions, it doesn't really understand what it needs to do. So take advantage of this tool. It's extremely useful.